welcome.
In the joy of Jesus.
May we be strengthened and made whole.
And in the breath of the Spirit.
May we be comforted and blessed.
Our first hymn this morning for the story this evening is hymn 278 in the quiet early evening.
Humbly pray, bringing you gifts of hope, love, joy, and peace, that we may experience them in our hearts and lives. We remember all whose hearts are heavy this Christmas. Help us to know that you are with us now and always. Amen.
These lights have been lit by Carol and St.Andrew in memory of loving parents, Carl and Darrell Will. By Joyce and Carrie Butler in memory of Maxwell Squirrel. light of the knowledge of God's glory revealed in the face of Jesus.
Second reading is taken from Matthew 4, verses 12 to 17, and that's taken from the Voice translation. It was not long ago until powerful people put John in prison. When Jesus learned this, he went back to Galilee. He moved from Nazareth to Capernaum, a town by the sea in the regions of Zebulun and Naphtali. He did this to fulfill one of the prophecies of Isaiah. In the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, the road to the sea along the Jordan Galilee, the land of the outsiders. In these places, the people who had been living in darkness saw a great light. The light of life will overtake those who dwelt in the shadowy darkness of death. From that time on, preaching was part of Jesus' work. This third strand of lights have been lit by Jim and Jean McGinnis in memory of Herb and Elsa Cunningham and Bill and Jenny McGinnis. By John and Roseanne Peach in memory of Ronald Barkhouse and Richard Beckwith. By Elsa B.B. Riley in loving memory of her son Timothy, John Riley, and her sister Lorraine B. By Lee and Stuart Jameson in memory of brothers David and Brian and sister Jane. By Sandra Gauthier in memory of Annie Sardi and John Holmes. By Betty Ann Sanford in loving memory of Bob Sanford, Barb, and Kevin Johnstone.
we may not feel or see it because our own light at times can be so strong and so blinding. I mean, in our cities even, who needs stars? Who really wants to see the stars when the electric billboards provide plenty of dazzling pictures for distraction? Who even thinks of the stars when the night lights are shining? And so when everything is fine and satisfactory, and we created a life for ourselves where everything at the moment goes smoothly, that powerful biblical language of the light of God coming and shining in the darkness won't mean that much. But when your soul feels the dark night, the words of Scripture come to us with power. They have the power to show us the stars. Another thought I had, and I wanted to share with you is when I don't know when was the last time that you were walked in darkness and maybe you had a flashlight or maybe it was a power outage and you just had one candle and you were walking around your home trying to locate the other devices that you might need, more candles or more flashlights. When it's so dark around us, what comes to us is so much more important. When we see a face, is that face friendly? Is that face someone we trust? Hopefully. The worst fear for us in darkness or in our homes would be that in those shadows might be lurking someone we don't know and we don't trust. Faces. Recently I became aware of a project that an artist did during quarantine. He does photo realism and photo manipulation. And he shows the faces of the 54 Roman emperors, beginning with the turn of time around the time of Jesus and going to the end of that dynasty. And what he did is he took the busts that have been made by contemporaries to make permanent the impression of all these emperors. They all had they couldn't have their picture taken, so they had their busts made in marble. And then he took the descriptions of their faces and their physique from contemporary historians, and he tried to create a colored picture of what they might look like. And so I looked at these, and there's Augustus, the emperor during whose time Jesus was born and was a little child. That face, not a kind face. Dare I say, it reminded me an awful lot of the face of a certain president of a certain Russian Federation at the moment. Followed him Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, a bully of a face. These are the faces that people would have seen in real life, just as real as we see faces every day on our TV screens. These are the faces of the people who changed history. And these are faces that cast long shadows of violence, and war, and suppression of any sort of opposition. These are the faces into which time Jesus was born. And when you compare those faces whom you would not want to meet in the dark with the face of Christ, with the face of Jesus whom we now call the Christ, the Anointed One, there is and should be a huge difference. Of course, no one knows what the historical Jesus' face looked like, but witty, bright, compassionate, but very determined, and yet a Jewish peasant. Very different face from those of those mighty emperors whose faces radiate their egocentrism and their power hunger. Paul writes in a time that falls probably under the Emperor Tiberius. God revealed God's glory in the face of Jesus. And this face is light. Let light shine from the darkness. This light that shines still shines for us. And when we look at the stars, I know many cultures see many different things in the stars, but I invite you to join in the tradition to see in the morning star or in Venus the face of Christ, that brightness that lights up our soul's darkness. That star is the first to be seen and the last to go. Another symbolism of God's presence. I'd like to close by reading and attempting to sing for you a song that was written in Germany during the darkest time in recent German history, during the Nazi Empire, and it was written by a poet and a man who had a father who was a minister, Johann Klepper. He was married to a wife who was Jewish, and so his family lived in great anxiety. And yet, he wrote beautiful things like this. The night will soon be ending, the dawn cannot be far. Let songs of praise ascending now greet the morning star. All you whom darkness frightens with guilt or grief or pain, God's radiant star now brightens and bids you sing again. One whom angels tended comes near a child to serve. Thus God, the judge offended, bears all our sins deserve. The guilty need not cower, for God reconciled through His redemptive power all those who trust this child. The earth in sure rotation will soon bring morning bright. So run where God's salvation glows in the stable's light. As old as sin's perversion, His mercy's vast design, God brings a new creation. This child is sealed and signed. Yet nights will bring their sadness and rob our hearts of peace, and sin in all its madness around us may increase. But now one star is beaming, whose rays have pierced the night. God comes for our redeeming from sin's oppressive night. And invite you